Hi everyone, welcome to Mixed Rambles. Cyril is busy packing his bags, getting ready for his trip to America, and our third budget is being put on the table next week. So very exciting week for political events in South Africa, which I think we're all getting used to. But I keep asking, what on earth can Cyril say or do that'll get Trump to back down? So either Cyril has to back down on a couple of policies that are generally the only reason he is in power. I know it. So Cyril has to back down on a couple of policies he's been pretty adamant about. Trump is a businessman. He wants a deal. What can Cyril say without actually taking action that could get Trump to back down? And that's been in my mind for a while. So, surprise, surprise, when Cyril rocked up at NAMPO in the very same week that our 59 refugees arrived in America. Also then having the gall to say that also having the gall to say that those refugees are cowards. And immediately my senses were like media opportunity. Cyril is at NAMPO as a media opportunity, nothing more. He's not there as a farmer. Do you think this man knows how to get his hands dirty other than in corruption? The only way Cyril gets his hands dirty is when it's in a pile of corruption. Otherwise, I don't think so. So I know for sure, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me, that Cyril loves to play the media. And something we will definitely all agree on is that Cyril loves to say one thing and do another. He is do as I say, not do as I do kind of man. I want to run a thought experiment. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And I think I know exactly what's happening. I think I know exactly why this man arrived at NAMPO. He arrives at NAMPO, calls everyone cowards, in the same week that we have 59 refugees arriving in America. The media was lit with this news this week. What I then came across a bit later in the week was this interview, Theo Fenter, on National Security News. And he's discussing the interaction Cyril had with the farmers. Let's just quickly take a look. It gives you some nice context.
Of course, is agriculture. And I think with NAMPO this week, all the focus was there. And I think the visit of the two leaders of the ANC and their involvement, they did some walkabouts during the NAMPO, and they visited some of these stalls and so on. So, not sure it made the right impression, but at least they tried.
Well, what was the reception like? Because yes, President Ramaphosa released some photographs of him shaking the hands of Afrikaners. You know, they politely took off their hats while they were shaking his hands, and it all seemed very friendly, and he shook a little boy's hand. So what do the farmers really think?
Well, you grew up in this country, and you'll know that South Africans are friendly people. All South Africans, black and white. You will not end up in the kind of animosity that I have experienced in some other countries. It's a friendly environment, and I think they extended that friendship. Now, to extend friendship, to take off your hat, to greet, is a sign of respect, but it is not necessarily a sign of political approval. I don't think you can read anything of that nature into friendliness. I was once told by soldiers during the war in Namibia, told me that when they went through one of these little villages, the people were very friendly. So I said to them, okay, and you were driving in what? They said, no, we were driving in an armored vehicle. I said, well, I would also be friendly. So, so friendliness should not be misconstrued.
So I love this because South Africa is exceptionally friendly, all of us. If you go in to a tiny little village in the middle of KwaZulu-Natal, they will take their hats off and shake your hand and offer you something to drink. It's just a sign of respect. It's a sign of humility. And I've worked in international organizations, and all of them say, all of the South Africans they meet are so humble and appreciative and hardworking. It really is true. So in some ways, that's now being abused. But let's carry on. So this is an interview that Joe had with Rob Hersoff. And it really is applicable to the methodology being used here. Let's just quickly watch.
So have you met Cyril in person?
I met Cyril 7, 8 years ago, but I refused to meet him. He keeps sending emissaries down, these kind of scary guys that hide the money in his sofa and things like that. I won't mention names, but I get a call every year or so. Can we meet you? Cyril would like to chat to you. Like, I'm not going to meet Cyril, but I'll meet you. So I meet them. I'm never on my own, because what I don't want to do is be in a room where they say, Rob said X, and then I have to refute it and say, no, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
So I always take someone with me, and usually
Smart.
Gayton or someone else. And they come into the room and they say the same thing. They go, number one, the president. I go, Cyril. They go, number one. They get pretty nervous that I'm so disrespectful. He's very keen to talk to you. And I go, why? Because he wants you to stop bad-mouthing him, the ANC, and the country, because we want to try and have you help work together to make South Africa a better place. I said, firstly, I don't want to meet him because he's going to tell me what I want to hear, take a photograph, publish it, and then say to everyone, we've made up. And anyone who believes in what I'm saying will go, Rob's caved in like all the other big business people. I'm not going to do
100%.
that. The only way I'd meet Cyril is if he does something to prove he's serious. And they always say, what's that? And I say, I think he should resign. That's probably the best thing for the country. And his faces go like this.
Okay, so the point is that yes, it's a media opportunity that creates a story about what's happening. What made me put all of this together is a while ago I came across this article, and it talks about the meeting Cyril had with Elon regarding Starlink. It was this is actually the meeting happened 27th of September, 2024. It was brought up again on 7th March, 2025. Same picture. Elon Musk and Cyril did meet. Elon Musk was not happy with the meeting. And there was a whole post about this, which I'll try find, that spoke to this photo being taken unawares to Elon, in such that he was facing Cyril, talking, they shook hands, somebody called him and he turned around. The photo was taken. And if you're looking at Elon Musk's body language, the way he is facing like that, I would say 100%. So this is just a methodology that the government uses. So we have a photo opportunity from NAMPO, that's happened now in this week. We have Theo Venter basically confirming it, saying that we're very polite. Of course, we're going to shake hands with the president. Listen, I'm rude on the best of days, and I love a bit of conflict. Even I would shake and smile at the president, because that's just what you do. Rob reinforces the fact that he won't meet Cyril because his tactic is to take photos, publish it, and say everything is fine. There is the way Musk is positioned in this photo, it is as if he was facing Ramaphosa, somebody called him, he turned around and they took the photo. Look at all the other photos taken from politicians. They are standing side by side, not half facing and full frontal. Just my opinion. What makes me really bring this all together for you, this thought experiment, is that I also remember this article. So what's happening here is that I can't, okay, so hold on. I can't pronounce that name. Or I'm going to call them AM. I'm going to call them AMittal, ArcelorMittal. I'm going to call this company AM. So it's a mining or a company, 3,500 employees. Yeah, 3,500 jobs are said to be cold. End of January, its operations in Newcastle and Vereniging are set to close. So requests for help from government fell on deaf ears. This article summarizes everything I've just said, showing how the government engages at number 99 when all disasters are busy hitting the fan. They engage with the problem. Then there's this big flurry of media. Oh, the government, and they love, and they stood over the graves and the government makes promises, which is always very exciting. But this is an example of what happens when you listen to the ANC and their promises. So this mine, I'm just going to call them ArcelorMittal AM, is due to shut down. They announced this in November 2023. This article is from the 6th of Jan 25. 3,500 jobs. Year-long plea for help from the government has come to naught. It is, after all, South Africa's only primary steelmaker. So it's been in talks with the Trade, Industry and Competition Department since December 2023. They engaged with the government a month after announcing it. The government is willing to listen, but not able to take decisions. A source close to the company said, efforts to get the government's attention and help has been frustrating. So after months of warning, Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Parks Tau, intervened on 19 November 2024. A year later, when he sent a letter to AM requesting an urgent meeting. So they've been trying to get hold of the government for a year. The government gets back to them a year later and says, oh, no, we need an urgent meeting. This sounds like exactly how they're dealing with the refugee situation. So the meeting, scheduled for 21 November, the meeting didn't go well. Tau didn't even pitch for the meeting he requested in the first place. It's like the government didn't take the mine's plea seriously. Discussions continued well into December, that's when I read this article, but failed to yield the necessary results. There has been no feedback from the government. Spokesman for Tau, Yamkela, said the government has noted ArcelorMittal's AM's decision, adding that it will have an economic impact not only in the town of Newcastle and the KZN economy and other downstream impacts. So you acknowledge that you literally say acknowledge that the government intervened in the matter, but the intervention was not sufficient. Critical component in the reindustrialization of the South African economy. You sat for a year while the only steel mining mill told you it's closing down. So this is what we're expecting when the government starts dealing with refugees, AGOA, all of the other promises they're about to make, because they realize just how big the fire is. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. It first announced in November 23 that it would shut down its steel operations that were performing at a loss due to Eskom blackouts, Transnet's inability to rail goods to market, and the government's policy blunders in not protecting the local steel industry. ANC's fault, ANC's fault, ANC's fault. And then the minister doesn't even pitch up for the meeting with the only steel manufacturer South Africa has at a cost of 3,500 jobs, with the unemployment rate we already have. Where do we draw the line, ANC? Where do you actually start to draw the line? Like, to what low is the ANC willing to go? Anyway, so this is the outcome. This is what's going to happen when the ANC go to America and talk their talk with Cyril. Show him the photos of NAMPO, make all the promises, do all the things. I mean, stoop to new lows. Their knees must have serious carpet burn. It's shocking and embarrassing. And for once in my life, I am not proudly South African. I am ashamed that this is the representation of my country. Keep all of this in mind next week when Cyril arrives in America and the mainstream media have their fanfare of glory, getting things done. Just before the provincial elections, as usual, the ANC only perform at number 99, and they only perform with promises and nothing else, empty promises. And the only way the ANC get their hands dirty is in the pile of corruption they love digging in. So don't believe a word they say. Whether they sign the paper or not, they're lying to you. There's literally, I just gave you 3-4 stories as an example. So your past actions predict your future actions. And there's 4 stories as just an example of what's about to go down. It's going to be a very interesting week. Let me know what you think about all of this and what NAMPO meant and why we had our government officials suddenly showing an interest in farming. Never in my life. The only farming the ANC has shown interest in is the farming of money into their couches. They plant seeds of money into their couches and then it grows dollars. That's the only farming Cyril knows. So mediaopportunity.com, it's soulless and empty, just like the ANC. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think is going to go down next week. It's going to be so interesting. X is going to be lit, guys, lit. So on that note, I will leave you to it. Have a great day. Drop a comment, share, like, subscribe. And if you want to support me, I am on Coffee, as well as you being able to give me a super thanks. I would really appreciate it, just to support me in what I do. So have a good day. Enjoy the media frenzy that awaits us. Over and out, guys.